Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Kirsten with Kirsten Safford Art. I am going to be talking today about Dremel bits for lapidary and what I do and what I use. Now, I am no expert, but I have been doing this for plenty of time, quite a few years, and I have a system down. But before we get into too much detail, I just want to ask you something. Do you know what all your Dremel bits are, what they're supposed to be used for, and how you can use them for lapidary? If you have any questions about those things, stay tuned. That's what we're going to be covering today. So what we have here, this is just a box that I have turned into a Dremel bit storage case. So here are just a few of the bits that I have. These are little foam things that I've glued to some foam core and stuck inside. So it just holds this all in place, sticking up nicely so I can stay organized. What we got here, these are diamond tipped polishing Dremel bits. So I have quite a few different ones. Here is just, I'm sure you can use your imagination, but they come in all different shapes. They have round, they have flame point, they have these big flat discs that are great for sanding large items. And you can see that I have a lot of them. I use these to sharpen up my diamond bits when they get poor, when the quality starts going down. These here, these are for grinding and for polishing. You can see that the shaft on these is thinner than the shaft on these regular bits. The reason for that is all you have to do is change out the collet, which is the part that goes inside of this, to make it smaller, and then it will hold it in place no problems. Usually when you buy these and they come with a smaller shaft like this, then it also comes with a collet to go inside of it. Here's my Carbide Tools and a couple polishers and one of my wrenches. This came from a glass cutting kit, and see what I mean by when you buy these, you get the collet with it. See, that's the part that goes inside. So if you don't have the right size shaft and the right size collet, it doesn't work very well, but it's easy to change out, super easy to do. Here's one that I use for making rings. Cuts perfect circles. Now when you're cutting rocks, you want to use rocks that are a Mohs hardness of 5.5 or less when you're using your Dremel. I find that works best. So the softer stones like malachite, azurite, calcite, travertine, fluorite is one of my favorites. I do have a very long video, but it goes through how I polish a fluorite heart. And you know, if you've never done it yourself, it's good to watch someone else do it once. Maybe it will help give you some ideas of what to do. I love these. These are the quick release. So they make a quick release. So you just leave the shaft inside the collet, and then you just switch out the tool, and that makes for very fast switching. See, here's another one. This is one of my polishing buffs. It's coated with a special polishing compound. And then we have these bristles These are really good for cleaning specimens. Say they come back dirty, or you want to just get some of the dirt off. These work really well. And these steel ones and the brass ones work really well as well. But you do need to be careful because they can scratch your stones. And then over here, this is just where I keep all my quick release pieces. In fact, I'll put that one in there. And then these are polishing buffs. They're very hard felt. But what I found is I can also use the floor felt stickers and put those on a plastic top shaft. And then these are grinding stones and polishing pads, just very small ones. And then over here, these are for polishing. These are the screw on, and then I go ahead and I just put a little drop of hot glue over the top to protect the end of that screw so that it doesn't scratch my rocks when I'm working it, because those screws, they can gouge out pretty deep. I mean, just one nick of that against some turquoise and your whole project could be ruined. So that's one of my tips, one of the things that I do. So that's enough about this box. Let's see what I have in here. Oh, some nice Varisite, some Utah turquoise. So these are just tools that I use a lot, frequently. So, I mean, you can tell just by this brass brush how wore down it is. So just looking at these are really good. I like to use these for polishing softer stones. They're very hard. These are the ones that come from Harbor Freight, and they're very hard, and they hold up really great actually for using for lapidary. And this is a polishing stone. It actually has polishing grit embedded within it, and this polishes at a 250 grit. So it's kind of like using sandpaper, a nice fine sandpaper. I don't use these stones too often. Generally, what I do is I skip using any of these polishing stones and I just strictly use sandpaper. Sounds like my garbage man is here. These ones are great for using on glass. These ones do polish. This is a rubber compound with a polish in it, and these end up being a higher polish than the gray ones. So I would use this first and then come in with the green one afterwards. And it's different. It's going to be color coded different for every different one you use. This is one that came preloaded with a polish compound within it, and all this is a felt, a hard felt. So those ones you have to be kind of careful with your rocks. The rocks tend to get grabby on those and go flying. And then here is some more of just, you can see what gets used here. You may be wondering what this green stuff is. I have felt tips with green stuff on it. That is ZAM. It's a polishing compound. It's a silver polishing compound, but it works really good for doing lapidary. Final stage. Here is a giant diamond coated bit that I actually ground down the base to so that I could use it in my Dremel. In fact, I can show you maybe really quick that it fits and works in there. But you will wear out your diamond tips if you don't use water. I know they're super cheap if you get them online, but really you don't want to be using up your bits and all that. And I do have more cases than this, but this really just shows you just about everything that I use on the daily. So this is what I'm talking about, having a rubber, and then you can use rubber cement and just glue regular old sandpaper that's the wet sandpaper for like automotive use if you're trying to find the higher grit. I have grit sandpaper that goes all the way up to 12,000, but I do buy that at Hobby Lobby with a 40% off coupon, so it ends up being about $6 for the 4 sheets, which is pretty good, I think. I have a lot of these. These are barrels that the sandpaper goes on that they don't last. I find they don't last very well, so I don't hardly ever use them. And then this is another thing. These are from a lapidary supply store called Kingsley North. It's not too hard to find, and I just rubber cement these pads. These are polishing pads. You get them in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 3,000 polishing grit. So I just take them. They are a sticker back, but I find that the sticker comes off really quickly, so I tend to just rubber cement glue them down. Or I use this E6000, and it does come off. You can take it off again. So it looks like I have talked about all the different kinds of tools that I use. I don't see anything else here really. Oh, at Harbor Freight you can buy these for on sale or with a 20% off coupon. Not too hard to get. They're just little cotton buffs. This is what I use for the final stage of my polish with Sam. Just a bunch of extra stuff. So I hope that gave you a little bit of information on how I use different Dremel bits for my different projects. If you have any further questions or comments, leave them below. And I would love to know, do you use any Dremel bits that I didn't show? All right, thanks guys. Take care. Have an awesome weekend that's coming up, and happy Friday the 13th.